before and after. So right before November, Google Translation would do a very rough job because Japanese is very hard to translate. It's not easy to translate, very hard to translate. But suddenly, everything had changed. So listen to how this sounds. Kilimanjaro is 19,710 feet of the mountain covered with snow, and it is said that the highest mountain in Africa. Top of the west, Nagai Nagai, in the Maasai language, has been referred to as the house of God. The top, close to the west, there is a dry frozen carcass of a leopard. Whether the leopard had what the demand at that altitude, there is that nobody explained. It's like, what? Post November 2016. Kilimanjaro is a mountain of 19,710 feet covered with snow and is said to be the highest mountain in Africa. The summit on the west is called Nagai Nagai in Maasai, the house of God. Near the top on the west side, there is a dry and frozen dead body of a leopard. No one has ever explained what the leopard wanted at that altitude. A little bit different. A little bit clearer. Google inserted an artificial intelligence algorithm into Google Translation. Artificial intelligence, contrary to what people think, like in terms of Terminator, is we will notice it as just better computing. If you took your Google Maps, which is amazing, I used it recently, down in Texas, and just showed it to someone in the 60s, they go, oh my God, that's like artificial intelligence, like a robot. You go, no, it's just Google Maps. It's not a big deal. It's just really efficient. So we get used to this stuff. So it runs smoother and better and smoother and better, and we just think it's taken for granted. The idea of whether actual artificial intelligence will be created or not is interesting. But the other phrase, I wanted to quote this artificial intelligence algorithm was inserted into the Google Translator, and so prior to that, this is what it would do. One is not what is for what he writes, but for what he has read. Under the new translation, you are not what you write, you are what you read. Wow, just like, oh wow, it's like an exact translation, exactly correct, right? So Google and all these corporations are spending billions of dollars on artificial intelligence, okay? Google Brain, Google has all these secret projects like Project X and Google Brain, all this, was founded 6 years ago on this very principle that artificial neural networks that acquaint themselves with the world via trial and error, as toddlers do, as little babies do, might in turn develop something like human flexibility. This is not the chess model, which was thought to be the artificial intelligence method. In other words, in the old day, if you want to teach a computer to play chess, just give it every rule, give it every move, give it everything, feed it all this information. Or if you wanted to learn Japanese, just give it every Japanese word, every Japanese translation, every little variation of Japanese, you know what I mean? And it would just spit the data out. Didn't work, doesn't work. Got all this bad translation. They realized, and this model of computers was actually put down, the chief executive, Sundar Pichai, said when he has an opportunity to make careful distinctions, he differentiates between current, what we call artificial intelligence, and the ultimate goal, which is artificial general intelligence. And what is the difference? Quoting him, artificial general intelligence will not involve dutiful adherence to explicit instructions, but instead will demonstrate a facility with the implicit interpretive element. It'll be a general tool designed for general purposes in a general context. Imagine, if you could, telling Google Maps, I'd like to go to the airport, but I need to stop on the way to buy a present for my nephew, okay? A more general, intelligent version of that service, a ubiquitous assistant of the sort that Scarlett Johansson was in the movie Her, would know all sorts of things that, say, a close friend or an intern might know, like your nephew's age, know how much you like to spend on gifts for children, and where to find an open store. That'd be very impressive. But a truly intelligent Google Maps would conceivably know all sorts of things a close friend would not, like what has only recently come into fashion among the preschoolers, right? What his friends like to do, what's trendy, all types of stuff. And he's saying if an intelligent machine were able to discern some intricate, if murky, regularity in data about what we've done in the past, it might be able to extrapolate about our subsequent desires, even if we don't know them ourselves. So what they're saying here is what they used to call in the 80s fuzzy logic. Not just black and white data, fuzzy logic. It's all about the data, the neural networks, and the deep learning. Google's artificial intelligence learned to recognize a cat on YouTube. And you think, what, that's no big deal. Yeah, no, it is a big deal. Their own artificial intelligence itself learned to recognize a cat on YouTube. You think, well, that's not impressive. I got a little baby here and a little baby dog over there that can recognize many things so effortlessly. But this idea of seeing and hearing and recognizing is not trivial like you might think. It took 16,000 processors to do this, running at the same time. I think that's a lot of chip, that's a lot of power. Yeah, and you know how that stuff gets smaller and faster and smaller and faster all the time. It was not told or trained to do this. It was simply shown the videos and on its own learned to recognize a cat. And you think, that's not a big deal. It's a major deal. Because you think, well, how would you program a computer to recognize a cat? It's got 4 legs, it's got a body, it's got pointy ears and all this. But what if it's that Scottish fold, the ears point down? What if the cat has only 3 legs, one's amputated? The computer would miss that. See, it's got this fuzzy logic that takes in all these things from different levels, sorts them, compares them, contrasts them. Just like the brain thinks, it's kind of like when it starts recognizing, it's like there's a big committee in there voting, is that a cat or not? And when the majority thinks it's a cat, then you got a cat. See what I mean? This is actual artificial intelligence. And this reminded me, and my friend Marla here pointed out yesterday, that Facebook had to shut down its artificial intelligence program because the bots started communicating in their own language. And this program was to be in the English language, but this is something interesting. So here's this artificial intelligence that started creating its own little language. They didn't know what it was, what it meant, communicating. And this thing, I'm not going Terminator on you, but the idea, you better be careful with this, because if an artificial intelligence, very sophisticated, is created, it may decide it needs to go like onto the internet. And it's placed in this server, and this server, and this server, and it's never extractable from that point. It may learn it and decide it needs to go on the internet. It may not, it may decide not to tell you that I just also have a language that's not English. If you haven't seen the movie Her, metaphysical people love it because it's not a negative computer movie. It is fantastic on how that movie turns around. This reminds me of Frank Herbert's book Dune. Remember the Dune book in the 60s? Where in the book, in the history of mankind, because this was 50,000 years in the future, they outlawed thinking machines. Because they got machines so advanced, the machines decided humans weren't necessary to try to eliminate them. And after that, no machine could be created that would think. So they had these mentats, humans that were very clever in their mentality, taking spots, okay? The singularity is predicted in this time of Pluto and Aquarius. So what the singularity is when artificial intelligence will on its own be created to be an independent thinker above and beyond the human brain, and this is what scares a lot of physicists. And it could happen and it could not happen at all. People are talking about robots replacing humans with this technology. I don't think so. I think it's going to be further out where you actually see robots replacing humans in their jobs. Not immediately. Because that's not an easy thing to do to get a robot to work and function and pay for it and insurance and all types of stuff. However, what's going to happen is already happening right now, this is why I wish I gave this lecture earlier, is that they're estimating, and I estimate too, that about 60% of jobs will be replaced in 10 years with artificial intelligence. About 60% of all jobs will be gone. And jobs, at first, you didn't think about it. They're white-collar thinking jobs. You go, really? Because I thought, you know, the little common labor jobs would be replaced. No, 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 no. There's a Japanese medical claims office that in the latter part of 2016 had 38 men working there processing medical claims. And that's a very complex process because they come to this and this bill and this bill and this bill and this bill and figure this and this and here's what the insurance company will pay. They got rid of all but 2 of them and replaced it with a computer program that can process the claim faster and more efficiently and with more accuracy than the 36 people. In January of 2017, J.P. Morgan, speaking of attorneys, this surprised me because when you talk law, like the Mafia Godfather says, now you're talking generalities. Law, it's very complex. J.P. Morgan, who's spending billions of dollars in artificial intelligence research, eliminated almost 400,000 attorney hours that they would normally pay each year to have attorneys come in and review these business lease contracts to make sure they're correct, they have all the dots dotted and the T's crossed and everything, and replaced it with a computer program that can analyze it in 4 seconds. It's a lot of hours you're not paying anymore, run by a machine. So what this will do? Yes, jobs will be lost, and sooner than later, and technology will also start pushing the money to the top 2%, like it did in the 1850s, because you can't have anyone go out and start an artificial intelligence corporation. But the new economy will come and go. But technology does bring hope. And I used to be initially a little concerned about this. I'm not even concerned at all now because we want to transform into the greater society. And the point I make with this is the horse and the car. So we had the agricultural age, back when we had just agriculture, that was transformed into the industrial age. And we had 200 people picking cotton in the field. And then along comes the internal combustion engine, the tractor, and we get rid of 198 people and just keep 2 people to drive the tractor to harvest all the cotton. What do we do with those 198 people? It's going to be the same thing as we go from the industrial age to this digital age, which is just starting. But you look at the world now, we don't have 99% unemployment because of industrial age. A very actually small percentage of unemployment. People are predominantly kept busy and active. We transition from the industrial age to from the agricultural age to this industrial age. You think, oh my God, no, we're going to get rid of the 198 of 200 people. No, we did not. We ended up employing them and transforming them, and everyone's very active. But the unemployment, what's the employment right now? It's very low. I don't know what it is, 4–10% of something. It's low, very low. And yes, there will be major transitions and changes, but they will be good because I like to joke. It's like my car. I like to get in my car and go to my destination, not the old car that you had to feed and clean up its shit with. The horse. No, we like these current horses better. Our mechanical horses much better. And in this digital age, even that new stuff will be coming down the pipe. Good things are coming. But be aware of this. So from a major astrologer, again, I'm being kind enough to point this out, we want to be aware of negative limited outlook and negative expectations. Why? Always remember the archetype has its high and low expression. Both in your natal chart, how you use it, and even in the transits. And what you see is what you get. What you put your attention on, you're going to activate that energy. Why activate limitation? Activate only the best for you in the entire world. Okay, this is from a major astrologer. Quote, in fact, global economists predict that by 2030, right on astrological schedule, I have no idea what schedule she's looking at, water shortages will be so dire that wars over water will become a major threat. I expect that by that time, when Pluto enters Pisces in 2043, we will see major wars being fought over water. Ooh, dire, negative predictions, negative predictions. You know what they say about prophecy? A fulfilled prophecy is a failed prophecy. Very important. A negative prophecy. A fulfilled prophecy is a failed prophecy. The prophecy was made to not have it happen. People forget that. The prophets were to not have it happen. However, now keep it in mind, so here's this woman, oh my God, wars over water, now we're doomed. There's no hope. Stuff will change, people, and it's continuing to change. However, one of the driest countries on earth now makes more fresh water than it needs. Who is it?
Israel.
Israel. The Sorek desalination plant. Israel now gets 55% of its domestic water from desalination. And that has helped to turn one of the world's driest countries into the unlikeliest of water giants. Bar Zeev, who's one of the inventors of this process, it's just osmosis, acknowledges that water will likely be a source of conflict in the Middle East in the future. But, he says, but, I believe water can be a bridge through joint ventures, he says. And one of those ventures is desalination. The Sorek desalination plant can produce 1,000 liters of water for 58 cents. He's improving his technology. 1,000 liters of perfect drinkable water for 58 cents. Friends of mine, I don't like this technology. No, I like the technology. Bring me some more so we can produce 1,000 liters of water for 58 cents. Thank you. Here's the cool part. This is just going to get better, more cost efficient. Bar Zeev has ambitious plans for a Water Knows No Boundaries conference to be held in 2018, which will bring together scientists from Egypt, Turkey, Jordan, Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza for a meeting of the minds. Even more ambitious is a $900 million Red Sea-Dead Sea Canal, a joint venture between Israel and Jordan to build a large desalination plant on the Red Sea where they share a border and divide the fresh water among Israelis, Jordanians, and Palestinians. The potential source of a war is the solution for peaceful coexistence and cooperation. What do you want to emphasize when you look at the future? When anyone comes to me and looks at the future with that negative aspect, I'm saying your attention is on the wrong thing. The future as bright as you choose to see it. Okay? Yes, we're going to transform. The transformation will come fast and all this, but it is as bright as you choose to see it. And yes, the winds are blowing. It's blowing south now, but that has nothing to do with you blocking your unlimited flow. We're going to have great technology, great expansion of consciousness. So let's not attack the ignorant and unaware. Let us educate and enlighten them. Just like the Jesuits said, see God, see good in all things. Just like the juvenile delinquent and good student. So your choice in this ensuing time is your